3 regions in Belgium, and it's called a farm style or farmhouse ale. And what it is just like the lambics we were talking about. They just let yeast from the open air in that area get into the beer, and those yeast produce those flavors. So really, it's just a standard beer. Everything that goes in it is still in it. It's less hoppy, so they use a little bit less hops to make it bitter, but it's still there. And it's got various types of malts in it. You'd find any other. Really, there's nothing that special about it other than they use a red or an amber style malt with it, which gives some of those notes. But for the most part, all of that comes from the yeast.
Can you explain to me what a red or amber malt is?
It's a malt that...
What's malt?
Malt is basically a wheat or a grain.
Oh, okay.
And, I mean, a long time ago we used to eat a lot of it, like malto meal. I think some of us heard of that stuff.
No, like I've heard of it, I just never knew what it was. I thought it was just a branding thing.
No. It comes from malt, and malt is a wheat that's been malted, so they let it germinate, which it sprouts a little root. Then they scrub that root off, and then malting is just simply roasting it.
Oh, okay.
And if you roast it for a small amount of time, it doesn't gain much color. But the more you roast it, the darker the colors get, to the point where it crystallizes. So you get little crystals on the outside or on the inside of it.
Okay.
It almost looks crystalline, and it presents a greater sweetness. So you're going to get less sugars from it, but you're going to get greater color and a profound amount of flavor. And we're going to actually go to the brew shop later today and pick up some ingredients for your beer. And we're going to film a little bit of this. We're going to go over some of it with an explanation. In fact, we're going to smell some of them, and I want you to describe what you smell.
Okay.
Because, like, honey malt actually smells like honey.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
And then we got biscuit malt, which actually smells kind of like a biscotti biscuit.
Really?
And lends a little bit of that biscotti biscuit to your beer.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Plus, they have Rauch malt, and they have peat smoked malt, and just standard smoked malt, which you're going to love.
I'm down.
The Rauch malt is from that Rauch beer. Uh-huh. So it's got all those smoky flavors, but adds that really cool Swiss and Gouda and Brie kind of flavors to the beer.
Okay, that sounds delicious.
It is. It's freaking delicious. And not to mention, we're actually going to go, when we're brewing your beer, which we're going to call Riche, because we were talking yesterday, we're going to love this. We're talking about misspelling and mispronouncing names.
So we're talking about rich douchebags who think they can just change their name because they don't like the way it's pronounced. So like John Boehner, the House Republican. Okay, it's not Boehner. There's a frickin' O in your name. It's Boehner. Your name is Boehner. Oh, but he's French. Shut up. There's an O. Boehner.
Even in French, an O is an O.
You can't change that to an E or an A or anything else. Your name is Boehner. Or what's the clothing? John
Versace.
Yeah,
Versace,
right?
Yeah.
Or Ralph Lauren. Like,
oh,
no, it's
that
not.
was funny. The Korean girl couldn't say it.
Oh yes,
Ralph Lauren. Like, what are you saying?
Oh, dude, I was clowning her so hard. She can't say any. She's just mad. Like America, Action Team America.
Oh,
Riri?
Hello, everybody. Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-il.
Yeah, like she calls my one daughter Teshra.
Because she can't do L's. It's hilarious.
Well, she can say the L's separately, just she can't say them in a word.
Well, kind of like Mirarani.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's hilarious.
Oh, it's great. Well, it's got, like Joe Dirt. He was all pissed about his name. It's like, oh, my name is Dirte.
Right?
Like, no, it's Dirt. But it's great. I mean, your name is Richie, and we're like, oh, my name is Riche. All the rest of the letters in my name are silent.
Right? That's what it is now. It's just Riche.
It's great. So we're going to name this beer Riche. And one of the things Rocky asked for was we need to make something lower calorie because he really watches his diet. And I was like, well, you're not going to like it very much. It's going to taste like ass. But there is a kind of a good point with that. There's a lot of people that end up not being able to drink beer or that are watching their diet. So we need to go kind of gluten-free. And we're going to go over some of those ingredients when we hit the shop, but one of which is sorghum. I'm not a big fan of it, but if you have celiac or a problem with gluten, these types of beers are the way to go. We're also going to cover corn flake, wheat flake, rice flake, corn starch sugars, which are 100% fermentable but don't really add much in calorie or in flavor or body. And
so what do they do exactly?
They just add alcohol.
So it's basically just the sugar to ferment.
It's kind of like a sugar, but like wheat flake, not only does it help filter, but it adds a little bit of alcohol without adding much body or calories, because it's like an empty calorie to begin with. So once you ferment it, you're not really adding much except alcohol.
So it's just a way to bump your alcohol content without doing anything at all with the beer.
Kind of like what Budweiser does with their, Bud Light or Miller Ultra, and then you've got Michelob Ultra.
I mean, Bud Light, all those taste like shit. I mean, Mich Ultra's the only one I can even stomach.
Right. Well, I think we should focus on producing one day where I show you how to give it flavor and body, but still keeping the calories low. It's not an easy task, and it's still going to taste like crap, but I mean, it'll be on par at least with, say, a standard Miller or Budweiser style beer. Probably the worst idea. Let's go Sierra Nevada Pale.
Okay, all right, that's
pale ale,
a little more drinkable.
Yeah.
God, I can't imagine drinking one of those. Like, is there just some flavor we can put in it so it doesn't taste like such shit?
Yeah, we'll actually use malt.
All right. I mean, if that's the trick to giving it some actual flavor, because the way you're describing it, and mentioning any of those beers, I'm just, I don't know if I can even bring myself to drink it.
Well, I'm making it, so I'm pretty sure I can get you to drink it. And speaking of drinking, you got to have money to pay for it, man. You told me a little bit about Bitcoin and some of the new cool stuff that's coming out, including our idea being finished already.
Well, so we're not quite to the finished stage yet. The idea we had there, we just want to create a wallet. One, we want to make lots of money, so who doesn't? So if you're a JavaScript programmer and you'd like to do some of this sort of thing, contact us. We would love to collaborate with you. It's just a matter of time doing this kind of thing. I know a little bit of JavaScript, I know how to do web development, but I don't have any freaking time, so it doesn't matter anymore. But Coinbase is rolling out they've had a wallet for a little bit now. They called it Toshi for a little bit, and they've already got their USD coin on the Ethereum blockchain, which I have some concerns about that, but we'll see about it moving forward.
God, I hope Toshi doesn't mean it's going to be anything like that character from American Dad, Toshi, the weird Japanese sex freak.
But so they acquired Cypher Browser a little bit earlier this year. That's another decentralized app wallet for the Ethereum blockchain. So they're acquiring all these things, and they haven't rolled anything out for the USD coin yet. But the essence of this article, though, the problem with Coinbase has always been that you cannot control your private key. So the private key is anything anyone needs to just take your wallet, take all your money out of it. A public key, that's essentially how I say, I'm Rocky Richey, and I'm sending you some money. And this is my this is my public key, so this is just how you know who I am. You can decrypt the transaction and accept the money. And I encrypt it then with my private key. And so it's kind of like a cipher of, if you can imagine like the secret decoder ring, the private key is your ring, and no one else can decrypt that except you encrypt it with your public and private key. So the public key is the one you share with everyone. And then so anyone else can then decrypt that to see it, but they can't decrypt your wallet then to open it up and do any actual actions. So they need the private, your decoder ring to open up your wallet. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense there. With their decoder ring, they can see the transaction. With your decoder ring, they can actually send money and basically put your signature on the bottom of that check.
So basically, just in standard encryption like you do with your cell phone when you're sending a text message, it gets encrypted, and there's a specific number on your side that has to be done on the other side in order to be able to decipher it.
More or less.
And then in this case, you need two of them. One just to decipher what it is, and one of them is your send button that's also decrypted. Without it, you can't send it. You need the two together.
In a way of speaking, yeah. I'm definitely not a cryptography expert by any means, so getting down to the nitty-gritty there, they go into all kinds of math stuff, and I don't understand math. Well, I tried to read over the elliptical cryptography stuff. I don't freaking get it.
That's why prime numbers are so important. The larger it is, the more difficult it is to get there. And that was one of the basis for modern day encryption is prime numbers, as well as really hard to crack algorithms. So you have a specific number on your end that gets transmitted to the other end, and the answer to that is the encryption, and you have a very specific one which often changes. And that is what allows things to be unread by other people. So the cryptography part of it's kind of simple for me. It was a matter of understanding that not only does the coin have its own encryption and the company that's holding on to it, but in order for them to release it to get proper authorization, you have your own encryption that allows them to understand that it's from you. It's a very specific one to you. Kind of like your Social Security number that nobody can steal, or hopefully doesn't.
I'm pretty sure everybody steals those.
Well, the idea.
Anyone who has been associated with the federal government since 1975 until I think it was 2014.
Right.
Yeah, your Social Security number's out there. All your information and all your family's information's out there.
But it's not encrypted. But that number is unique to you and should be.
Right.
So just like we're talking with Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other ones, if they happen to have your encryption, you're screwed. Your code or your number. So in this case, we're encrypting it and keeping it secret so it's not on everything. It's only decipherable by the program, which is hopefully not a person. Right. God forbid if somebody made a wallet and just started stealing everybody's shit for a while.
Yeah, no, so that was already into the works, and people were trying to mitigate against that for a long time. But anyway, what we talked about last week was or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, the Q whatever exchange up in Canada. The dude died, had the private key, and didn't tell anybody. So Coinbase, as soon as they learned about that on February 12th, immediately said, all right, well, we're going to give everyone a way to back up their private key because we do not want to be held liable for any craziness that might happen here.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, God, it was like $145 million, something like that. So this is a step in the right direction. However, they're only allowing you to store it on Google Drive or iCloud. Those are the ones that are actually being listed right now. I'm sure we'll go to Microsoft's cloud storage and Amazon's and stuff in the future. But for right now, it's only going to those places. So up to this point, my perception is that there were very few malicious actors actually going after cloud storage because there's just not that much of value for the entirety of, most people. Most people don't have a desire to break into those things. There's nothing of that much value in them.
It's also really, really difficult.
Oh, no, they're extremely secure. But now you're storing private keys on all of cloud storage, and there's a lot of people that want free money. So you just increased your
risk.
Well, the number of people actually interested in attacking you exponentially. There's actually money for them to be made rather than, let me see if I can break into Google, or, let me see if I can get some cool pictures of Kim Kardashian or something like that. Usually they would just go after your password.
Coca-Cola's recipe. I mean, that's on the cloud.
Yeah, okay, people use cloud very relatively. That's literally a remotely available server at this point. That's what people call the cloud. If I can log into my storage device and get my information, they call it the cloud. Anyway, now you can back up your private key. This is big, though, because Coinbase has never, ever let you keep your private key. So if your wallet got locked down or your Coinbase account got locked down because of, it doesn't even matter. I mean, mine's been locked down multiple times. Never did anything wrong. It was just a mistake in their system, or I typed in a wrong password, and I'm out of luck for 2 weeks. So that has been a huge ass pain. I think they're probably trying to mitigate some lawsuits for whatever you call when you hold someone's money and you prevent them from trading and making money, or cause them to lose money, whatever you might call that. They probably just don't want to be liable for that anymore. So by allowing you to keep your private key, you can just move your crypto around whenever you want from an open source wallet platform. This is the step toward that. And so that reduces their liability a lot. And really makes me feel a lot more comfortable with Coinbase. That's always been my problem, is I'll buy crypto and it immediately goes elsewhere. I'm taking it to a private wallet because I do not want them controlling my money.
It seems like instead of learning from real life, that cryptocurrencies are trying to catch up and are finding the hard way much more quickly than actual currency did. Because in a foreign country, a bank can just lock everything down. You can't get your money for days. And the U.S. had that problem 100 years ago.
Right.
And people don't want to put their money in a bank or have any faith in that bank to want to use the money there if you don't have ready access to it.
Well, it depends. There's a lot of people that like to use Coinbase because it's easy. You log in, you buy your crypto, and it's safe there.
Right. And normally your bank is that way. However, if the bank is closed on that day,
you're screwed.
Exactly. So Coinbase or cryptocurrency apps or programs are trying to catch up to what's currently going on for people that not only always have access to the money, but also make it easy to spend. Now, crypto for me is not that easy because most places that I buy things from don't take it yet.
Right. And so we're getting to that point.